right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Halsey. I'm the health fitness specialist at the P.P.L location. Happy Tuesday to you all. Welcome to a new week. Although we are off to a rainy, wet, and gloomy start, that means we still can't get a good workout in. All right, so for today, we're going to have a slightly different approach as usual. We are still following that 10-minute format. However, we're going to swap the traditional strength exercises out for a little bit more of a stability focus, where we're going to now evolve that hip sequence we've been working on over the last week or two, and we're going to add in a similar concept for the upper limbs. So we're going to go for the shoulders to pair up with the hips. All right, so we're going to go through the hip sequence. That's going to be our first 10 minutes. Then we're going to go through the shoulder sequence. That'll be the next 10 minutes. All right, so we're going to be working on the hip abductors and the hip adductors, so the outer and inner thigh, or the outer and inner hips, muscles that work the outer and inner hips. Then we're going to go for the shoulder extension sequence and then the shoulder flexion sequence. Okay, so we're working on balancing out and stabilizing the front part of the shoulders, back side of the shoulders, outside of the hips, inside of the hips. All right, so 2 10-minute intervals. We're going to start off with the legs first. We don't need any weights for today. We're just going to go ahead and get warmed up and go right into those 2 10-minute intervals. All right, so straightening up the camera here. There we go. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and come down to the mat. We'll get loosened up. Then we'll go right into it. So coming down on the mat, we're just gonna rock back and forth from child's pose to a hip sag. Just a gentle back and forth rock. Focusing on stability, because stability is the foundation of strength. We typically always work on strength, but it's been more aware to me that I've been more aware that I need to kind of help people get, including myself, right in the cat-cow, a little bit more stable. So when it comes to lifting any sort of weight or meeting the demands of everyday life, stability is a little bit more important. It's more important that your hips have their full range of motion, or as much as you can possess, which is relative, and then going with as much stability as they can is more useful to those who can't dedicate the time required to build a great deal of strength. It's more functional. All right, from here, you're going to bring the left hand up, rotate. You're trying to push your left shoulder to the floor. Last one, and we're going to switch sides. Last one. Okay. So from here, you're going to come to a high plank. You're going to push your butt back to your heels and remain in that high plank. Come back to the high plank. Last one. And you're going to come to your glutes. It's going to loosen up the hips a little bit more here, so bring your feet slightly wider than your hips. And you're going to turn your knees down to the floor. Try to push your knees into the floor. You want to try and keep your torso, your shoulders as square as possible, so all that motion is coming from the hips. And you can reduce how much of it is coming from the spine. Pivoting on those heels. Just take it as far as you can take it. If you can't get to the floor, that is okay. All right. So from here, you're going to come back to all fours. We're going to come forward in what's called a complete articular rotation, almost like you're hurdling over something. Just keeping your leg bent at 90, and you're just coming forward, and we're going to reverse, loosening up the hips. And switch sides. And reverse. Last one. And 5. Nice. Okay. Whew. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, we're starting off with the hips. First, we're going to do the abduction. Then we're going to do the adduction. So we're going to start off with the outside hip muscles, then we're going to work our way into the inner thigh, the inner hip muscles. All right, so these are 2 minutes total. It's going to take us 2 minutes to do each leg. For the first sequence being the outer hip muscles, it's going to be 5 moves, so it's going to take us 2.5 minutes to get through. Then we'll do the same thing on the opposite leg. We'll go to the inner thigh. The inner thigh is 4 moves, 30 seconds each there. Will take us 2 minutes to get through that. All right, so I'm just going to cue my stopwatch up here, my timer, and we will get going. So we've done this before. The first move, of course, done this before, so the moves will be familiar, and if not, no worries. I'll verbally cue you, and of course, all you have to do is follow along with what I'm doing to make sure you are correct, okay? So, for all of the leg moves, they're gonna be done out of the sideline position. So I'm starting off with my left leg. You should start off with whatever leg of yours is the weakest. For me, that's my left leg. So from this position, what you're gonna do is bend your knees at 90 degrees. You're gonna push your feet straight back so you have a straight line from the shoulder to the knee, okay? We're starting off in a clamshell. Here we go. Counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So in this clamshell, all you're doing is keeping your hips stacked, lifting the knee and dropping it. We'll be here for 30 seconds. Again, your knees will they might tend to drift forward. Just do what you can to keep the knees from drifting forward. Keep your hips stacked. Don't let the hips open up to the side. Keep the hips stacked. Transitioning in 3, 2, 1. So open up now. So now you're just lifting your foot with your knee, still doing a clamshell. Again, make sure those hips stay vertically stacked over each other. You don't want to open up the hips. It's going to remove the work from the hip muscles. Trying to balance a glass of water on your shin. 3, 2, 1. So now you're going to hold that knee up, lift the foot to the ceiling, drop the foot to your opposite foot. Lift the foot to the ceiling, drop it toward the floor. Your knee is hovering in place. It's almost like it's the pivot point for this rotation that you're doing here. Lift the foot higher than the knee, lower than the knee. Keep the knee in place though. We're transitioning in 3, 2, 1. So now you're going to straighten the leg out, lift, and bring it back. Lift, Bring it back. It's a straight leg lift. Keep that bottom knee bent and backward. Don't let it drift forward. 10 seconds till we get into the last move. 3, 2, 1. So you're going to bend your knee, hold that knee up, extend, and bring the heel to your butt. Extend, bring the heel to your butt. Keep that top knee raised as high as you can get it. Keep that back leg bent and keep it from drifting forward. You got 10 seconds. Listen out for the countdown from 3. Time. Whew. All right, same thing, opposite side. You can walk, shake it off for a little bit. You can walk for a second, help that burn that down. A good recovery position is just on your back. Kind of like that stretch we did to start right here. Just shifting the hips from side to side. Just shifting the knees from side to side. That's kind of like your recovery position. If you need it, otherwise, you can get up and walk around, but I suggest staying here because it's easy to get into the next move without having to get off the floor. All right, it's the same thing, opposite side now. Hopefully you start off on your weaker leg so you can finish strong. Feeling good about yourself. All right, here we go. So again, get yourself set. Bend the knees at 90. Make sure those hips are stacked. If this is just too uncomfortable, you can slightly shift your hips, that top hip backward. That'll be okay. But otherwise, try to lock the hips out. Push your hips all the way forward, straight from the shoulder to the knee. Starting off the clamshells, counting down from 5. Here we go. Clamshells, and begin. Take your time, do not rush. You're really trying to make sure you have solid muscle contraction here, okay? Transitioning in 3, 2, 1. Open clam. Trying to balance a glass of water on your shin. You want to bring your foot up with your knee. Don't just bring your knee up. Don't just bring your foot up. Bring them both up together. Keep that bottom knee from drifting forward. Again, staying straight from the shoulder to the knee. We're transitioning next in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold that knee up. Push the foot high to the ceiling, then drop it to the floor. That knee is being held in space. It's your pivot point. Push that foot toward the ceiling, drop it to the floor. To the ceiling, drop it to the floor. In 3, 2, 1. Pull that knee up, straighten the leg out, leg swings, straight leg swing. Do what you can to keep the core tight. You don't want to arch the low back while you're lifting your leg. All that motion should be coming from the hip. Transitioning in 3, 2, 1. Hold the knee up. Extend. Bring the heel to the butt. Extend. Bring the heel to the butt. Keep that knee as high as you can get it. Keep that bottom knee from drifting forward. Less than 10 seconds. Keep it up. Listen out for the timer countdown from 3. Keep that knee up. Time. All right. Back to that recovery position. Now we're going to do the inner thigh muscles. Again, start with the weaker leg. Catch your breath, cool it down. Hopefully you've built up a good amount of burn there. And generally, the more you do these, we do them once a week, the less difficult it'll be to conduct this in the future, and you should be able to get through that full 2.5 minutes without too much strife. Doesn't mean it won't be hard, but it does mean that you can get to the point where you can do the entire sequence without having to stop. All right, so my weaker leg is the left leg here, so I'm going to be starting off on my left side, which is the same side I finished on. The way you want to set yourself up here is you're going to grab an object. I like to use my foam roller here. Bring your knee up. It can be whatever it is you want. Pillow, does not matter as long as it holds you up. So I'm going to bring my top leg out to the front of me, propped up on whatever object I have. In this case, it's my foam roller. That bottom leg is going to be straight. All right, so just like before, as you go through the workout, you might get the tendency, that knee is probably going to get the tendency to drift forward. Keep that leg straight. That'll keep the knee from drifting forward. All right, so we're starting off with leg lifts, pushing the foot toward the ceiling. That's it. That's primarily the only move we're doing. Everything comes from that movement, from that position. So counting down from 5, starting off with leg abduction and the leg lifts. Here we go. 2, 1, and just push your foot toward the ceiling. Keep the leg straight. You should kind of keep the core tight as well to help support the leg lift. It should become a little bit more efficient, a little more smoother. I'm gonna keep the core tight. Less than 10 seconds before we transition. Hold tight. I'll tell you exactly what we got. 3, 2, 1. So now you're gonna hold the leg up, draw a circle with your ankle. Keep that leg up. One direction, draw a circle. Try to get it as high as you can so you can give room for your foot to draw that circle without touching the ground. If you touch the ground, that's okay. But see if you can kind of get your leg up as high as possible without having your foot touch the ground. We're transitioning in 3, 2, 1. Now you're switching directions. Hold the same position. You're just switching directions. You're drawing that circle in. But keep drawing. Less than 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Still holding that leg up. Pull the heel to the butt. Straighten the leg out. Heel to butt. Straighten the leg out. Your knee should not be in contact with the ground. Do what you can to keep it up. Of course, if you can take a break, take a break. The clock will continue to run. Don't let that bottom knee drift forward. Keep it going. 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, recovery position. We're going to switch sides. Then we'll be able to go to the shoulder sequence once we finish this last leg. Whew. Should definitely still burn though. All right, I'm switching sides. All right, here we go. Listen out for the countdown from 5. Same thing, just on the opposite side now. 3, 2, 1, and lift the bottom leg to the ceiling. Push the foot to the ceiling. Remember, slightly keep that core, or keep the core slightly contracted. It'll make your leg lift a little bit more efficient. Transitioning in 3, 2, 1, hold the leg up, draw a circle in one direction. Try to get the leg high enough so your foot doesn't touch the ground as you draw your circle. Light work, guys. You got less than 10 seconds before we switch directions. 3, 2, 1. Switch directions. Hold that leg up. Transitioning in 3, 2, 1. Hold that leg up, heel to butt. Straighten the leg out. Keep it going. We've got 10 seconds remaining. Listen out for the countdown from 3 to tell you when to stop. All right, and time. Recovery position. Whew. Okay. So that was pretty much our first 10 minutes. We've got 10 more to go, then we'll be through. We just got the upper body sequence, and we're done. So we're going to be doing shoulder flexion and shoulder extension. So again, the muscles on the front part of the shoulder and the muscles that work the posterior of the shoulder. Working on balancing those two out. All right, so let's go ahead and sit up. I'll demonstrate what those moves are. You won't need any equipment or anything like that. You'll just need your body weight, which I'm sure you have access to. If I can find it, there it is. Okay. So first, we have down dog. Now, if you aren't able to get yourself in a push-up position, that's okay. Just because each position is only 30 seconds, it might not matter if you can get into the push-up position or not. The first position is really the only position that doesn't necessarily have a modification. All right, so we have 4 moves, 30 seconds each. Starting off, we have down dog, right here, plank. All right, and then the down dog. The second move, we have plank pushbacks. That's what we did in our warm-up here. Next, we have shoulder taps. So you're right here. You can do this out of kneeling. You can come to your knees, shoulder tap. All right, that's the third move. The fourth move is you're just going to hold the plank. So you're right here and you just hold the plank. So of course you can always elevate if you're able to, but nonetheless, those are our 4 moves for the shoulder flexion. All right, and the good thing about the shoulder moves is that it's only one. We can do one sequence and get both arms. All right, so here we go. Counting down from 5. Starting off with down dog. You're breathing out when you go back. You want to make sure you do not let your shoulder blades come together as well. We're transitioning in 3, 2, 1. Now you have your pushbacks. Trying to get your butt to your heels. It's almost like you're squatting, you're just facing the floor. Don't let those shoulder blades come together. Push as much as you can into the floor and your body away from the floor. 3, 2, 1. Now we have shoulder taps. If you need to, you can always drop to your knees and still do the shoulder taps. But you're trying to, again, you're shifting your weight on one arm at a time, not letting your shoulder blade fall off of your rib cage. In other words, don't let your shoulder blades get pushed together. Transitioning in 3, 2, 1. Hold the plank here. Really a point of emphasis to make sure the shoulder blades do not get pressed together. You want to push into the floor like you're trying to push your body away from the floor as best as you can. 10 seconds. Whew. So if you are a little bit more advanced, in recovery position here is you can just get up, walk around if you want, or you can just hang out on the ground. It does not matter. But the good thing with the shoulder sequence is if you are a little bit more advanced, you can do just about all those moves on one arm, one hand. Plank pushbacks, you can do with one hand, right? The shoulder taps, that's naturally going to shift your weight to one arm. The third move, what's the third move? And that's the third move, shoulder tap. But the plank pushbacks, you can also do kind of with one hand. Just depends on how strong you are. And then finally, the single arm plank, you can definitely do a single arm. The plank at the end, you can definitely do a single arm plank if you want to there. Probably can't do as much of a single arm plank pushback, but it is possible. I've done it. It's just very difficult. And then of course you can also alternate arms instead of just doing one hand exclusively. So it's scalable. It's definitely scalable. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and get into the shoulder extension sequence. So this one should be familiar to you all, as we always use this move as a warm-up move. It's pretty much exclusively done out of the table, the reverse table. So this move here, this position here, obviously that's getting my arm behind us, i.e. shoulder extension. So the focus here is just going to be that literal opposite of what it was with the shoulder flexion. In other words, we didn't want the shoulder blades coming together in the shoulder flexion series or sequence. For the shoulder extension sequence, we want the shoulder blades to kind of stay closer to each other than becoming further apart. So it's literally just the opposite focus of the shoulder flexion sequence. Hopefully that makes sense, because now we're just working the opposite muscles. So the antagonist muscles, so now we just want to literally do the opposite of everything. So you can turn your fingertips straight behind you. You can turn them to the sides, whatever is most comfortable for you. And the more you do this, the more likely you are to be able to turn those fingertips all the way back. Do not be alarmed. It's okay if you aren't going to be able to do each position with equal efficiency. That is okay. The goal here is to just open up your back and wake up the muscles that work on your backside, that open up your posture, that hold up your spine. All right, so our back muscles are just as much a part of our core as the ones on the front that we love to work. But the problem is they get underworked on the backside. So this is to help balance that out. All right, so first move is just a reverse table, up and down. The second move is a reverse table march. So you're going to hold your hips up and you're just going to begin to march. Third move, shoulder taps. So just like we did with the shoulder flexion, shoulder taps there. And then the last move is to hold the tabletop, or to hold the reverse tabletop. Just like we held the plank, we're holding this position too. So those are our 4 moves. It'll take us 2 minutes and we'll be done and out of here. All right. So there aren't any necessary modifications here. The guideline I do want you to follow is to make sure you Just bring your butt down like I am right now. It's kind of your rest and recovery position. If you need to come here, this is where you want to come to. That's number one. And number two, try to keep your shoulder blades close together and avoid your shoulder blades getting pushed toward the ceiling, all right, or your ears. So let's get ready to go. Counting down from 5. Starting off with the reverse tables. 30 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and let's work. Again, do not let those shoulder blades separate. Don't let the shoulders get pushed into your ears or toward the ceiling. Almost like you're screwing your hands into the ground, but you're just reversing the direction. Less than 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Hold the hips up. March. Again, do not let those shoulder blades get pushed apart from each other. We want to keep them relatively close. Don't want those shoulder blades to come toward the ceiling. 10 seconds till we transition to shoulder taps. 3, 2, 1. Shoulder taps. Single arm work right here. Keep it up, guys. Transitioning in 3, 2, 1. You're just holding the reverse plank here. If you can, try to get those hips up as high as you can too. But really the emphasis is making sure the shoulder blades are facing the floor, pulling them together, pushing your body away from the floor, not letting your shoulder blades come into your ears or move toward the ceiling. Time. And we are done. That's it. So you can hop up and walk it off. That was literally the extent of our class. We're done. So obviously let's just cool down a little bit. We didn't work the traditional strength movements in that way, but I promise you these sort of stability sequences are going to help you move the weight you've been moving with a little bit more confidence and efficiency because those joints are a little bit more stable. That's the whole goal. So grab some water, cool yourself down. We'll stretch out here in a second. Hopefully you feel it in your back, you feel it in your, between your shoulder blades, kind of to the mid to upper back area, and then of course with your shoulders with that flexion sequence. All right, so we're coming down to child's pose, stretch out, and we'll be out of here. So you're reaching up nice and tall. Going to thread the left arm under and through the right, pushing that left shoulder into the floor, reaching as far across the floor as you can with the left arm. It's going to help stretch the back. And go ahead, come up. We're going to switch sides, threading the right arm under and through the left. Same thing, push the right shoulder into the floor and reach as far across with the right arm as you can. Go ahead, come on up. Flip it on over. Gonna come to the hip now, so bring the right leg up and over the left. Pull it into your chest. So hopefully between the stability moves and the stretching, you can understand the difference between mild discomfort and pain. Pain is always discomforting, but discomfort is not always painful. So they are two different things, right? So in increasing our stability, it's not uncommon or a bad thing if you're feeling or experiencing discomfort. And switch, because we have to literally condition our soft tissues to accommodate a little bit more stress than what they're used to, but obviously in a slow, controlled way, doing our best to control it. So that's going to help minimize your risk of injury, but that's what exercise is. It is a controlled trauma. And that's all we're doing, is we're doing our best to control the trauma or control the stress. And relax. Come to a butterfly stretch for the inner thigh. You want to kind of push yourself forward so your hips are in a more neutral position. Going to roll your shoulders back a little bit. And grab your feet. Roll your shoulders back. That should help put your torso, your spine, and your hips into a more neutral position so that your inner thigh is getting all the stretch and not the other structures in our body. And relax. Okay, so we are all good. So thank you guys for joining me today. I definitely hope to have you on Thursday, where we're going to do another hip sequence. We're just going to be getting the muscles we didn't work today, and then we'll actually get into some of the traditional strength training and moves that we usually do in P.P.L. So thank y'all for joining me today. I hope to catch y'all on the next one, and enjoy the rest of your day. Holla.